Welcome to our podcast, Learn Biblical Greek, brought to you by Dr. William Stewart, the co-founder of Teleios. This captivating podcast teaches you biblical Greek through a verse-by-verse study of the book of Ephesians, interjecting Greek grammar, Greek word meanings, and vital theology concepts. Thanks for joining us on this exciting biblical journey. Your study will be more effective if you use the Greek text with the Bible word codes, either on the eSword download or Bible Hub website. These links are on our podcast website at www.teliosresearch.com.
Hi, I'm William Stewart, co-founder of Teleios. Welcome back to our podcast on learning biblical Greek. I'm so glad you're here. We are in Ephesians 2 on a wonderful passage about the promises of our salvation and how to become a Christian. So we've just covered in verses 8 and 9 that we are saved by faith alone and not by works. And we know from Romans 10 and 9 and other passages that faith is directed towards his death and resurrection unto eternal life. That eternal life is made efficacious for us by our belief. So in verse 10, we continue in this passage about salvation in a different aspect, which will really cement next time, but we give a basis today. But we're also learning important Greek, so let's go to the text. Alpto. So this is he, she, it. You recognize the OU as the genitive, singular, masculine, and or neuter. So very common. We see this a lot. Gar is for. It's post-positive. So it's after. It comes as a second word of the phrase. It never leads with the phrase, much like the word un for therefore. And it means basically it's explaining the prior verse. Esmond, we are. So this is imi, to be, the first person plural. Poema, we don't see this word a lot. It's a made thing, basically, and we are a creation, and it ends in an A, so it looks like a feminine, but sometimes A's can be neuter. So indeed, it's the nominative singular neuter. Next is a verb. So this is important. We'll end with this today. Let's work through it. So at the front of the word, there's no preposition or prefix on it. So then next we look for the augment, that epsilon, which indicates the past tense indicative. We don't see it. So the root word is katits, and it's one of these situations where the zeta that ends the root in katitzo, creation, is one of these words that old words, well, I'm not sure it's old, but it has thought to have had the old consonant iota in it, which disappeared only in the present tense. So if you take it out of the present tense, indicative, then it disappears and it reverts to typically a sigma. So katis in this case. Theta is a sign of the aorist participle, aorist passive participle. Remember, the aorist is the one-time punctiliar tense of a completed action, whether short or long, whether the action was short or long. And it is the most common past tense tense. So, however, in the right context, it can be present or can be future, but it's typically past and is sort of the waste bag past. The imperfect and perfect are used for specific indications typically, and almost everything else is aorist, but again, it's also indicating this one-time punctiliar action. We don't have this in Western European languages. So theta eta, again, this would be the sign of the aorist passive participle. NT is part of the aorist passive participle and helps define it. You might be thinking, well, gee, that's typically active participle. Well, it's thought that the passive aorist participle came from some form of a active verb form as a guess in terms of how it's structured. We don't know for sure. ES is the, again, the ending. It takes the third, the passive participle. And the aorist takes the third declension endings. The ES is the nominative plural. So created. So what we have here is for of him, we are, or excuse me, for we are his workmanship created. Okay, so we'll get to the meat of this passage next time. I hope you will join me then. Always appreciate you viewing these videos, and I hope they're a help. Goodbye for now.